that are addicted to like surfing and all that, where they like cut work and go surfing. I am so ready to like blow out and just go snowboarding all the time. Joe is rubbing off on me. Dang it. Took a while, but here we go. So awesome stuff. Sorry about this personal life, but hey, that's how I roll here. Cool. How's everybody doing? Good. Hi, Jerry. Can you hear me, Jerry? Jerry with a G. Hello. Whoop. Okay, maybe not. Hey, Joe, tell me while I have you here, what is Eric's new thing? Eric's funny thing. Do you know?
Yeah, I got some info on it the other day. He's partnered with Dan Schwartz, and 80/20 is a product that they've launched that's kind of for like the person that has done 2 to 5 deals and is looking for a launch off from there to get them to a higher level. And then they have another product that does more in line 80/20 style stuff that's like more systematized after you're doing a consistent deal flow to start getting your time back. So it's pretty cool. They're still kind of massaging out like what the I guess the keywords are and things like that. But I got a tour of the actual product, and it's very good, very high level stuff.
Super awesome. And so Eric B is super Joe's best bud from younger years, who worked for Fortune Builders for a long time, like at CT Homes, right? In their own personal company. And so he's like their master marketer. I don't know. How would you describe Eric B?
He ran acquisitions for a long time. So he did hundreds of deals for them. So he's got like, I would say that he's like the sales ninja as far as having seller scripts and things like that. He's gone not only through all the courses, but then has done hundreds of deals to test them. So that's where I think it's he's above and beyond.
His omnipresence as well. Is that something that somebody could jump on now? Like if you drop it in the chat, they can jump on, or is it too premature?
No, it's ready. I mean, they're accepting people in there as they kind of like massage it out.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we're hopefully going to bring you guys a little bit more info, or I think you posted something on our Facebook page about it, right? Didn't you? I thought I saw something. Maybe. Did you, Joe?
Yep. Yeah, I did. I just shared what he was up to, and then I'm just talking with him more the next couple of weeks to kind of understand it more, or like help him with the launch. So
cool. Well, Daniel, you got to be happy. The market is still hot, even though we've had all this craziness with bank collapses and interest rates are now down, which is, I mean, we could say we're happy about that, but are we happy about it because the reason why they're down? Yeah, I know. Right, Alex? It's like, what do you think, Alex?
I mean, I've talked to borrowers on both sides of the spectrum, or not just borrowers, like people on both sides of the spectrums. I've got some people who are saying like, the feds had to bail out the banks because, otherwise you have thousands of people who lose jobs or they lose their livelihoods. I've also talked to people who are like, look, it's a dog eat dog world. And if it's going to fail, you let it fail, and people just have to pay the consequences of their actions. So I'm not educated enough on the subject to know who's right, or even to know if there is a right person, but I can say that the ripple effect has been a lot of people took money out of banks. They put it into the next safest thing, which would be treasuries, and that has pushed down interest rates. So if you're looking to lock loans, lock them like this week if you can, because
totally
there's a chance it doesn't last.
I just have an off-market deal that was pending inspection in Linwood, off-market, and actually a Sunday referral, which is kind of cool. And we are telling her like, hey, look, they asked for a little something, and we're like, right now the rates are down. We don't know what's going to happen, right? just crazy times right now. But it's funny how things, at least real estate's so hyper local, things are moving forward hard. I have another broker investor on my, I'll say team, my community, which is a big word I want to talk about today. And she put a home on the market in, Holly. You guys know Holly. Holly's a broker investor, the house hacker, does seller financing. She hosts for me sometimes. She's freaking awesome. She's part of my community. And she put this house in Allentown. Remember Allentown? Like, that's kind of like, not everybody wants to be in Allentown. And I thought, okay, you need to be a little careful with how you price that one. And for God's sake, she had multiple offers on it in like half a day, even with all the news that, just happened right here over the weekend and in the last week. It's absolutely crazy in a pocket that I thought would be hard. It's not happening. So market is hyper local here still and super, super hot here. So I was going to tell Daniel how he's got to be. How far out are you on your project, Daniel? When are you going to be wrapped up? Oh,
can you hear me?
Yep.
You can hear me. Yeah, we're a couple of months out. So hopefully by May we'll be listed or ready to list. We'll have to make a decision. But yeah, we're getting really close.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you need somebody to do an open house, hit me up because I'm nearby.
You're very close, I know.
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel like it's kind of a great time. It's always a great time for this. But do you guys know if I say the word cross-pollination or cross-pollinating, do you know what I'm referring to do deals? Cross-pollinating. It literally means like I've noticed there's so many deals getting cross-pollinated today, because what that means is like, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, right? Like I just picked up a deal off off market just because I'm scrolling through there for my entertainment. And I have a second one today in Shoreline, and just paying attention to my community and what's going on around me and what people are talking about and what people's wants and needs are. And I've literally been able to cross-pollinate 2 deals off market, right? As a broker investor, dealing with other brokers or dealing with other brokers, right? It doesn't even matter what discipline of real estate that you're in. This concept of cross-pollinating is something everybody needs to it's like right in front of your face. These deals there's deals that can be done with whatever you have going on, with whatever other people have going on. And it's happening right in front of our face daily, the ability to cross-pollinate. And I think people don't take advantage of it, right? That's something that in my broker investor community, you guys have my VIP education community, huge topic. We are getting bunches of deals done as investors, as broker investors, as brokers, doesn't matter, as wholesalers. I'm cross-pollinating now with Victor, is the biggest wholesaler, I'd say, probably one of them in our state. And it's how you can get deals done off market or maybe on market by actually just ticking up your level of awareness of what people's wants and needs are around you. You might think, they're an agent. I'm not going to pay attention to what they're doing, or they're another investor who wants the same thing I want. I'm not going to pay attention to what they're doing. But this cross-pollination between different disciplines of real estate or similar agent on agent, broker investor with broker investors is such a huge runway of deal flow. It's right under our nose. Are you guys paying attention to that? I've just gotten 2 deals done just by paying attention to what's going on around in these Facebook real estate investing or broker groups. You just need to change your antenna a little bit, and you will be amazed how many deals that you can start getting done no matter where you're at, wholesaling, looking for broker deals. And then the other thing is, it's not a bad idea to be in second position sometimes, right? Like, let's say Daniel or Thomas here wants to go after a deal and they know they can't pay as much as that wholesaler wants or whatever it is. Well, being in second position, my broker investor on my team, he's wholesaler. He was a wholesaler who got his license. So he is my Shang. You guys have met him. He's my protege for the moment. And he is kicking ass. He's on an appointment right now with Jacob Weaver because he basically went in second position behind somebody else who was going to pay more. And I'm like, that's going to fall out, bro. Just sit right behind. Guess what's happening? He's sitting behind and he's now getting another crack at this deal, right? Before anybody else is, because he made his intent known. So, pay attention to your community, the chatter in your community, like put your radar on it, and you will find those, or talk to somebody like me who has the radar out to get you deals. And if you say, hey, Julie, put me on your radar, I'm looking for this, right? You guys can do the same for yourself. But, if you need help, you want a tribe helping you out, let's all talk. Like right now, what are you guys looking for? What is anybody looking for that us wholesalers or broker investors or brokers can cross-pollinate with you guys? Who needs what? We know we got resources here. Thomas, what are you doing? What are you looking for? Word. Sorry, guys, I drank 20 ounces of coffee today. I'm amped, right? Let's go. Is anybody looking for anything? Or are you guys like just waiting for, love the energy. Right on, Alex. I love you, Alex. Can you see me? I'm next to you. There's a little kiss to Alex, guys. I'm going to start a kissing booth here on SIC. I'm just going to give Joe a kiss. Hi, Joe. All right. Okay, guys, enough of that. I'm just goofing off. What does anybody need? Morgan, what are you up to?
Hey, Julie. Happy Thursday. Thanks for hosting again.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just looking right now. I'm looking at a 600K single family fixer upper, something that I can subcontract out myself in Central District or maybe Baker area, somewhere where that still exists.
You're looking to purchase something for up to 600, or you have one?
Well, I've got one that I've pre-approved and I'm ready to put in an offer on. It's a bit of a lowball offer. We discussed it with Holly on the deal last week.
Sweet.
So just finalizing that deal.
Is it listed? Not that we're selling you out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's on the MLS. And it's been on the market for a while. So I think I can put in maybe a lowball offer on it.
Do it. That's exactly what I've got going on with somebody else on my team, right? And it was total lowball, and they took the higher offer. And of course, because it has some distress to it, it fell out and the buyer rescinded, and my guy is right in there, right? Like, I would like make it a business plan almost to go just make lowball offers on houses that look like you could buy, regardless if they're overpriced or not, and be like, hey, if it falls out, call me. That's a great place. Then that agent or whoever, if it's listed, is going to be hungry to call you, and they'll call you before it's even back on the market, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good plan. And what I'm trying to do is kind of limit the amount of out of cash investment in it. So I'm looking at seller subsidies, seller paid subsidies to kind of lower the per month cost on it, and maybe looking at like credits on the mortgage to pay for the reno.
Are you putting a conventional loan on there? Is that what your plan is?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I just signed, I don't know, I got like 3 deals in the hopper right now that are pending, and they're all have seller paid concessions on them. So the listing agents are very used to that right now. You could work that off market too, guys. You don't have to be like dealing with brokers on the market to request in your off market deals seller concessions as well. That might even be a way actually to kind of mentally get a seller to thinking they're getting the price they want, but then you actually talking to them about the reality of the market and the financing aspect of it. And if they say, well, I don't give a crap, then say, well, then I still want to buy your property. Let's talk about you financing it for me then, because these are just the facts of financing out in the market right now. Right. And so I get it. You don't want to give me that help so I can get your deal done. I'll give you the price you want, but I need that credit. right? So if they don't want to do that, that's a great pivot into, well, hey, I'm still interested. I totally understand your position. Let's see if we can work it out a different way, right? How would you like some cash flow, right? You go into the seller financing conversation, right? After they say, no, I don't want to give you that seller credit. That could work actually for any of you brokers listening. That could work as a great conversation for your clients, or finding deals for investors. If some buyer says, no, I don't want to give you those credits, and then that's a quick, easy opening to that seller financing or lease option conversation, I would say. So good stuff.
Julie, have you ever seen, what's the max in seller credits that you've seen come back? Like, usually maybe like 3%. Have you seen any like 10% or 15% before?
Yeah. I think if Alex can chime in, maybe because he's not a conventional lender, but it's going to be, the conventional lenders, I think, are going to be limited to a max of like 3%. I would talk to your lender on that and say, what's the maximum credit that I can get? But I think they also have a way that if you get more, they might credit it towards buying down the principal on your loan. Do you know about that, Alex?
I was about to say, this kind of question, I really want to defer to a conventional lender. Like, do you know if Albert's awake? Tell him to jump on.
Yeah. Let me ping Albert. We like to do things we like to do things on the fly here as well. So let me see. Let me ping Albert and say, hey, we got a conventional lending question, and see if you can get him on.
I'm very comfortable talking about like hard money. I'm very comfortable talking about private money. I'm comfortable talking about asset-based loans, and at a very high level, I'm comfortable talking about like conventional financing. But once you start getting into details or like, specifics, I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to defer to an actual expert on this.
I'm just sending him a note. Right on. Just send Albert a little ping there. I love Albert Bowie. He's a good dude. Very, very, he's just so great and eloquent about the way he speaks, as well as our main man, Alex, here. I absolutely think that you can get a credit, but it'll be a maximum through your conventional loan. And it might depend, I believe it depends on like a little combo of how much you're putting down versus, and that plays into, I think, and the type of loan plays into how much of the credit that you can ask for and use. So you need to check with the lender and then ask them, well, what if I can get more, right? Because it is better. I think we've done the analysis that we know that it is better for your monthly payment to not ask for a price reduction, but use that funds that you would be using for a price reduction to pay down your rate, results in a lower monthly payment than a price reduction. I think, in general, you'd have to run the numbers in every scenario and check with a lender, but I believe that you will find that is the case on, I think, the majority of your time. I'm not a lender either, but 2-1 buy down, or there is like a 3-2-1 buy down. There's like there is ARM products. You don't have to put are you planning to hold this long term? You don't have to put a 30-year loan on there. You could put like a 10-6 on there, a 7-6, which means that you're fixed for either 10 years or 6 years or 7 years. And then after that period, it adjusts every 6 months. So a 10-6, I believe, means you'll be fixed for 10 years, and then it'll adjust every 6 months, 7-6, right? And then you just got yourself a runway out of this interest rate environment that we're in. If you're following me, Morgan.
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah, I guess one of my concerns is I don't want to buy down. I'd rather do like a temporary point buy down instead of, because it does seem like the rates are going to be temporary.
Yes, right. So you want to have something where it makes sense for you to refinance, right?
Well, and the other consideration is I think I might end up living in this one. This is going to be my first project, so I'll probably end up living in it. So I'm getting a pretty good down payment. I'm getting good terms as a result.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. And Holly is so good at talking about that stuff too. She is actually working on a deal right now. That's why I just was talking to her before this. So that's why she's not here right now. But yeah, good stuff going on, you guys. Go in second position. It's a great time. It's a great time to go behind and be in backup offer position. Such a good time for that, I think, and such a good time. I think you're going to end up hearing people talk more about this. It's going to be a new topic because I'm going to talk about it. This cross-pollination between different disciplines of real estate, or even the same broker on broker or broker with, on market, off market. Look at these, go into the real estate groups that you're a member of and start looking for what people are looking for. You realize, even if you're a wholesaler or investor, having an excuse to call somebody, right? Like cross-pollinating your efforts with somebody that you want to like make a relationship with in these groups, they might say like, yeah, I'm looking for this. Well, now you have, you're able to call off market with a purpose. I call it like calling with a purpose is a lot easier than calling, cold calling. You're calling, especially if you're a broker investor, right? Anyways, I don't want to go too deep on that because I'm gonna start covering that in more detail. But hey, do you guys know who Jeff Stevens is? He's kind of a student of Greg Penio. Do you guys know? Have you seen his name floating around? Jeff Stevens? Super awesome, creative real estate structure guy. Honest, nice, non-sleazy type of, not looking out just to serve himself type of guy. He just booked on our podcast, so I'm super stoked to have him come on here in the next few weeks, which will be very beneficial to everybody. If you guys haven't checked out our podcast yet, hundreds of episodes and obviously hundreds of masterminds like this that you can go back and listen to on Seattle Investors Club YouTube channel. What else? Morgan or anybody need any help? Are pre-foreclosures a good channel for off market? Great question, Morgan. You can talk.
Yeah, I've got a couple like books from the 90s that I picked up on pre-foreclosure investing for dummies. And I'm just curious if that's not a bygone approach.
Yeah, I know it actually is a great source of deals for sure. Got to be a little bit careful with them because they in my experience, have a tendency to shop you. So you don't want to give a pre-foreclosure seller an offer in hand, because they will shop it and they will use it to stop their pre-foreclosure. They'll show it to their attorney or their bank, say I got an offer. And so you need to be careful, in my opinion, with those types of leads when you're going for off-market deals. Or, if they're listed, that's different, right? That's a whole different process. But if you can pull a list of pre-foreclosures from your title company relationships, or from probably things like, PropStream or whatever you're using to pull your lists. Those are great to door knock. Those are great to, cold call, just pull the phone numbers. If anybody ever needs a phone number for somebody, because we're such an awesome community here, that I'm happy to use my resources that I use for my team and my personal inner community and team, that you guys, I can get you the phone number for whatever you want. Just note to self there. But yeah, those are good deals. You just have to you want them to sign right away in front of your face. Otherwise they'll shop you. Those probably get door knocked. The thing is that a lot of them probably have equity. So they're probably in pre-foreclosure because they have financial issues, not because they're anywhere near a short sale or anything like that. Hi, Albert.
Hey, how's it going?
Morgan, why don't you ask Albert your question? Because we got him.
I got a text.
I summoned him. Thank you, Albert. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I have open office right now at Capital One. So I'm here 12 to 3.
Sweet.
Just chatting, working with the team.
Where's this?
Capital One, Bellevue, Northeast 4th.
Are you having open like investors and anybody can walk in there right now?
Yeah, it's kind of like, we're just here working on our stuff that we would normally. We'd make calls, we'd share. If they're brokers, they can see how lenders act, on our end, and what kind of service you should be getting. But ultimately, it's so you can actually ask your strategy questions. That's
Man,
ultimately what
guys,
it's for. Yeah,
that is a good place to be. Not at the same
kinda
time podcast, or the show, but it is definitely a great place to be. Hey, do you have classroom space, or how much space do you have in there, Albert? Because I'm doing a weekly
cool.
training I'm doing a weekly training for all my anybody that wants to come, but also for my VIP broker investors and brokers and wholesalers can come too, right? We're doing that Wednesday, and then we also are doing a boiler room. So we're gonna start this boiler room on Fridays, where every Friday morning through like noon, we are just all in a room, just calling, just doing follow, like calling warm leads, cold calls, whatever. And then like checking in every 20, 30 minutes, like what's your experience, helping each other through the objections they're getting, a little training. Anybody can come, right? I mean, it's based out of my VIP education company, Broker Investors and Brokers, but we have wholesalers, anybody can come. It's just a hangout sesh. And we're looking for a space to do that. How about your office?
Look, Julie, I'll flip the camera. You can see it's huge. It's got like this upstairs area.
Is that at a co-working space?
It's kind of like a co-working coffee shop, right? It's like huge.
Oh.
It's got so much space in here, and there's a Pete's coffee, so in case you need some caffeine, so you can. But sometimes I come here to work, but it's great for open office because people can come in and there's a lot of space.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm gonna get with Jacob and Ty and Joanna here, maybe Holly.
Yeah.
We're gonna come have a coffee there with you and check it out.
Yeah, check it out. I like the one on Westlake too. That one's cool as well. There's a huge one. It's 2 floors.
Send me the locations of whatever it is that you're talking about, like text me or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Alex, are you still sitting in that big ass office in Tukwila?
Mm-hmm.
No, we actually have a new office. We are now downtown Seattle, 2nd and Union. Normally, I would try to go to Albert's thing, just like show up, show out, support my boy. But like just this week, I'm super busy, and I'm like, I just got to stay in our office here in Seattle.
Yeah. Plus we were hustling around real estate at work last night, so we were running around. Alex was too. He's getting his steps in.
Oh, was that James Daynard thing?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, big turnout. Yeah,
it was 60, 70.
Cool.
Quite a bit.
Sorry, yeah. I told
Albert, do you have a schedule for your I guess group or whatever you're doing right now, office hours?
No, we do them once a month. So it's just kind of like a 3-hour period. But a lot of times the team meets anyway, and we're just talking and doing work. But the only difference is like we're doing our training, but people can come and chat. So we're doing it once a month. It's usually in the middle of the month or near the 3rd week.
Let us know.
Yeah, it's kind of like as if you had your EXP training, but instead it's open to other people, and they would come and ask their questions. But you're having your training as well. So it's like kind of like that.
Yeah, that is what we do. Anybody can come. It's not like an EXP thing. Yeah. It's like anybody can come. But we should. Yeah, I'm back to the word cross-pollinate. We should cross-pollinate on that effort of just getting everybody together. I mean, you know what I've noticed, you guys, in the last, especially the last. Joe, I'm talking to you right now. The last 45 to 60 days, what I've noticed a lot is how much I always think about, like, people care. I don't know how much people care about community, how the community that they're in, the people that they're surrounding themselves with means more to them almost than anything else. And I think because I've been doing this for so long, that and so many people call me and contact me, I've noticed this huge common denominator of how the number one thing that people are looking for is a community that they can be comfortable in and ask their questions in, kind of like this, right? Just like this community here, the VIP community. You're not embarrassed. You can be new, old, medium, what are you going to call it? And that whether something costs money or not, I've noticed so much that people are looking for a sense of community and comfort, because you kind of are the people you hang out with, right? Your tribe. And I thank you guys for showing up here. And I've just been kind of more in tune with asking people what it is they're looking for, because people are looking for all kinds of different things, right? And they're looking for that community that they can hang out with and get their questions answered and not feel like they have to join anything or buy anything or commit to anything. And, happy to have you guys with us. I feel proud of this community here. So I don't know. Do you guys sense that? Do you feel like you're better when you're a part of a community? I mean, the community is people hanging out at Albert's office, hanging out here, just all that stuff. Morgan says, heck yes. You can say hell yes. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm all about that. So you guys are welcome to come to all my stuff. And if you want to know what all my stuff is, shoot me a text at 206-910-2985 or Julie@SeattleInvestorsClub.com or whatever. And I'll let you know how to connect with me. We have kind of a community connections thing that we put out to my people that want to hang out with me aside from just here on Thursdays from 11:30 to 12:30. So yeah, I'm gonna bring my people over to you, Albert, because I want us to check out your space and all that stuff too. And we'll talk more about it, and maybe even do one of these from there. That'd be cool. So Dario, what are you up to?
Hey, Judy. So right now, I'm actually working with contractors to and get quotes and get ready for doing some work to add a kitchen and also a couple of walls in the basement. So I can move there and hopefully have renters in the main floor in a couple months. So
are you, I have a good handyman guy that is really fast.
Oh.
Where's the property?
It's in Kent.
It's in Kent. I don't know. I don't think he'll go down to Kent, actually. Sorry. He's more of a North End guy. Otherwise, I'd share that with you, but I'll keep it on my radar in regards to, do you need a general contractor, did you say, or did you need specific subs?
General contractor. I am talking to a couple of people right now, but yeah, haven't decided on which one I'll go with just yet.
And remember, just interview, be sure to talk to other clients they have done business with recently. That is a crucial part of the step.
Yeah, I have talked to a couple of them and gotten pretty good reviews. Also, same about the timeline. For the first person, they only took one extra week, which is like they are right now quoting 6 to 7 weeks. So if one extra week, that seems okay. The second one,
6 to 7 weeks to do the project or get started.
To get started, 3 weeks to get started, and then 3 to 4 weeks to complete.
That's a great point right now, Alex. Are you, because I'm going to tie this back into Alex and to Daniel here. When you guys are buying your deals right now, or whoever, maybe Thomas or anybody else here is buying deals, what is the lead time to get people to get going these days? I know things, I don't know if they've slowed down or not. It sure doesn't feel like it from my perspective that they have. What do you think, Alex? Are you seeing, nobody can do a 6-month term on hard money anymore, right? I mean, that's crazy. Like if you're working with a hard money lender that's offering you a 6-month term, you might as well like freaking run, right?
It's not something I would ever advise for a newer investor, right? Like there's a lender in the Puget Sound region that offers like a standard 5-month term. To be honest, if you're an experienced investor or you're doing like very, very light renovations, I think that works. If you're doing anything more than like say $50K in renovations, I don't think that works so good.
What are you seeing as typical timelines from start to finish these days, Alex, with even the experienced peeps?
Greater Seattle region, very, very rough rule of thumb, for every $10,000 about a week to get that done. So like, yeah, if you're talking, $100,000, you're looking at roughly a 3-month, like a 2 to 3 month renovation period. Assuming that there's no problems with like plans and permits. If you do have to get permits, probably tack on an extra 30 days to 60 days, just depending on what kinds of permits. Out of Seattle, again, very, very wide variance, like just depending on the area of the country. I've had some borrowers in, say, Boise, whose flips have dragged on for like 14, 15 months because of like planning, permitting, or just like not being able to get subs there. I've also had borrowers who are in like, say, Atlanta, who can get, a $50,000 renovation job done in like 2-3 weeks. So it's really hard to tell you, broad numbers. It's like, it's local, right?
Totally. That's good info though. I'm typing Joe a note.
Yeah, from the other contractors I've talked to, they are also saying similar things. For them, they are seeing things slow down, but they are still getting contacted by people to get some work for the next 2-3 months. So it's kind of a mixed bag as to some people are super busy and some want to work. So it depends on who, at least from my side, who I'm talking to and where their work is.
Totally. I got a question for you guys. Hold on one second. I'm typing myself a note here to Joe. So one question that I think is interesting, you guys, and maybe Daniel might know the answer to this. I don't know. What do you think are the most expensive subs that you're hiring today? Like, is it electricians or drywall, or who's the hardest to get these days? Do you know, Daniel, since you're in the middle of the throes and consistently working on deals, who's the hardest and most expensive?
Well, I think for us, the hardest to get, we've had to go through 2 or 3 different hardwood floor guys. I guess they're in hot demand right now. In our GC had to run through like a 3rd hardwood refinisher, and a good, really good quality. You can't tell if it's new boarding or not. One of those right there.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were busy from timelines, or just their schedule couldn't meet the timeline, or they were.
The way I heard is that they're busy with other work, and I guess there's not very many of them that are really high quality. That's just what I heard.
Yeah. Good stuff. It's funny because you guys know, because I force you to listen to me yap all the time, but I have twin girls and they're going into high school next year, which is insane. Absolutely insane. I've known some of you before they were even born, I think. Do I? I don't know. Some of you, but, we were talking about how the trades are in such high demand, like that kids today should be looking into the trades, as a career. If you're entrepreneurial, go open a plumbing franchise or do something like that, and have a good life doing that stuff rather than having to be a software engineer. Yeah. Right? Totally.
Some of my electricians are making probably 150 to 300. The journeymen, the owners.
And look at those guys. Then they make that money. They save a little money. They go buy some real estate. They know what they're doing, save themselves some money, and voila, you don't need to be a software engineer to kick ass, right? What's interesting, here's another thing. Joe and I are trying something today, so I keep referring to Joe when I want him to take special note of what I'm about to say. So play along with me, guys. But what I have noticed is something interesting, actually, even with a friend that you and I have, Albert. I don't want to out anybody or talk about their name. Somebody that you introduced to me recently, and I've noticed something super interesting is that there's all these layoffs happening in tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something, if you're in tech and you're listening to this later, let's say there's somebody working in tech now, Meta is laying off another 10,000. And my understanding is that whoever's getting laid off at some of these big tech firms, they were easily getting a job in like a month at some of the smaller tech firms, some of the smaller startups. They were getting reemployed quite quickly. But guess what? With, SVB collapse and, some of these other banks and what's going on with this stuff, now the VC money is dried up for a minute. Lots of people probably may or may not get their funding, or there's going to be a pause on maybe hiring till all this world crap gets worked out. So maybe they won't be able to go get a job as easily. But even if they are, what I have noticed in the tech crowd is that because they're coming to me, some of these people, Albert actually introduced me to somebody, and they're like, hey, you know what? I own a few rentals and my spouse works and I love real estate and we've got some savings, we've got a runway, and I now want to go hardcore into real estate full time for the next 12 months to see what happens, because I prefer to go that route. It's an interesting dynamic, and I wonder if we're going to see a flood of either investors out of tech that, because they're on this hiatus maybe for a minute. Anyways, what I'm saying also is, for you others out there, it's a great time to connect with your friends in tech, because maybe they want to jump in. Maybe they want to fund your deals, right? Maybe they want to step harder into real estate right now, right? If you're listening and you want to become a broker investor, which I'm getting a lot of calls about, I have a program totally, I'm going to dial you hard on that, because we are the broker community with my VIP education community. If you're listening to this, but I find it interesting of what's going to happen with the tech crowd. They might not be able to get jobs as easy, or going to the smaller tech companies. Are you guys seeing any of that? Probably it's too early.
Yeah.
Probably
I hear it every day.
You hear it every day?
I'm talking to the borrowers. So
right.
Like I told people at the real estate at work last night, it's like pretty much therapy every day.
Totally.
Talking to the borrowers, trying to reduce their fear about SVB and how is it going to affect my mortgage rate? Should I lock now? Should I lock after? Should I lock after Credit Suisse crashes? Or, I'm like,
so what do you
those
tell
are the things I deal with.
What do you tell them?
Say, hey, it will affect it, because debt is supply and demand. So if the cost of debt is getting riskier and the yield goes up, the rate goes up, it affects all the other competing money. So yes, it will affect it. The question is, I run through the payments with them. I say, here's the payment at 6.5 or at 7, and we go through the analysis. If they're happy and they're solid with it, you should lock, so you don't have to worry about this payment. Yeah, that's a homeowner, right? Investor, it's different.
Right.
We're talking about cash flow, and if you lose $100, you're going to have to raise 4 of your fourplex units, $25 just to break even again. Should you lock now, or should you lock after?
That's a really good soundbite right there, Albert. If you're like a multifamily investor and you're deciding about your financing, if you have an uptick in your monthly payments because you're waiting around for some crystal ball thing, like you said, if your payment goes up by $200 a month and you've got a fourplex, right? You have to somehow now raise your rents. What? Well, I'm not stupid here. $50 per unit. Right. You have to find a way to raise $50 per unit. If you're trying to crystal ball time your stuff. That's why everybody needs a property doctor like Alex and Albert here to you need, again, it's back to that community. You guys are as your investors, you need to be able to be like, I got a deal. Let me run it by Alex and Albert, right? But after you've committed and realized that they're going to help you and that you don't need to shop them all around. And it's more important to have a relationship of somebody that's going to give you a quick second set of eyes. But yeah, like stalling on something, you talk to Albert, that's a really interesting way to look at it. That just required you to raise your rents by $50 a unit. That's interesting.
Yeah, sometimes the market will let you do it because you're under market. So you can do it for free. Sometimes you have to install a washer dryer to get that extra $50, $75. Now you got to spend money to break even. So it depends. So that we talk about that. The conversation is completely different if you're a homeowner, first-time buyer, owner occupied versus an investor. It's a completely different conversation.
Right. Totally good stuff. So what was the takeaway from last night with real estate at work? Was there a big takeaway? Aha, what was the sound bites?
There was a lot. But the funny
Albert,
one was Jimmy's best deal. He made 190 grand in 48 hours. Some auction, he bought the debt, and his competitor ended up competing on the note and drove the price of the note up to try to beat him. And apparently he owned the note, but nobody knew. So I guess Vestas bidded up the note, and he made the spread 190 grand, and it was only 48 hours later. And after the sale closed, he told the guys at Vestas, hey, you guys know you overbidded my note, and I own that note. So now you own it. You paid me 190 grand.
That's hilarious. So
it wasn't the most money he made. It wasn't the most, but it was the fastest and the most in your face kind of. So it's funny.
His investment wasn't. It was a note that he owned.
Yeah, he bought the note when it was going to foreclosure. So when they bought it off him, he put it back on the market. When they bought it off him, they paid over what he.
Interesting.
He had.
So where did he buy the note from? I
believe it was at auction. This is a cool story. I mean, he talked about his story and the state of the market, how his flips are doing and how his rentals are doing.
And what is the answer there? How is the market from his perspective?
It was all over. He's doing construction. He's moving towards higher margin, less projects. So he said before in 15 or 13, he had 100 projects going on at one time. Now he's got 15, but they're a huge margin, like Bellevue, $3 million spec homes.
So his analysis, though, because of that, if he's in that tranche of the market, is going to be a totally different dynamic and market reaction and timing and everything else to the people that are in the medium bracket of doing their flips and stuff like that. That's a completely different. That doesn't relate necessarily, right? But he obviously is. But what did he say about the general outside of that, the more median? Did he say anything about the market conditions or
talking about inventory and demand? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, how hot the market is or not, or I mean,
he's saying his over 2.4 is sitting on the market a lot longer. If you're in the Goldilocks zone of 7 to 900, you're in the sweet spot. That thing, it unloads fast.
Or 1.2. I'd say the sweet spot is 700 to 1.2.
Yeah, that was the lower tiers, was 700 to 9. But then for Seattle, there's that middle upper that's very sweet as well. It's 1.2 to 1.6. And then
what's interesting is that a year ago, that middle upper 1.2 to 1.6 a year ago, honestly, because I look hard, was no man's land. That was no man's land. All I had to see was somebody list for, this last year. I think Jared Holland experienced this. I'm like, you just listed that in Ballard in no man's land. That is going to sit, bro. And exactly what happened is it sit because you can, I mean, it's easy to figure out where no man's land is. And what happens is when you price something into no man's land, meaning nothing's really trading there, all the closings and the pendings are not really there, is that the buyer's agents, when you've done your flip or whatever, new build, they don't know how to comp it because most of them are not, and so it sits because they don't know how to comp it. And when you get into that no man's land, in my opinion. But anyways, well, I got Dante. I haven't seen Dante for a while. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Hey, Julie. How's it going?
Good. What are you up to?
I'm good. Just wrapped up my second co-living house. It's going well.
Your second what?
Co-living house, the room by the room, the big houses.
Yeah. You bought one?
Yes. So this is end of 2021, but it took me a while to get it remodeled and everything. I ran out of cash. I waited a little bit. But it's all finished. 8 bedrooms, 5 baths, averaging $1,200 a room. So it's gonna cash flow really well.
Nice.
Then I'm also doing ADUs in both of my properties just because it made sense with interest rates. Might as well just double down in construction. So learning a lot of construction, doing a lot of construction right now.
So when you say ADU, does that mean you're adding a second kitchen somewhere downstairs or?
No, so I have attached 2-car garages in both of the properties and doing a garage conversion a lot cheaper than backyard build.
Oh, hey, Joe, remember we did a podcast with a guy in San Diego that was the Dadu, he was a California guy. Remember that one? And we had Tanya co-hosted. Drop that in there for Dante if you can find it. If you know, do you know what I'm talking about, Joe?
Yeah.
That podcast? Yeah. Dante, we did a really good show with on our podcast with a guy that does just that. He's like, that's his whole MO. He's down in like San Diego.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard
yeah.
this. I heard when you guys, it was just a little bit while back, I think.
Yeah, it was like last year or something like that, but we'll drop it down there. It's a good one. And I also can tell you that we just booked, we're booking Chris Myers from Revision Homes on the show to talk about, he's like a go-to guy building all these dadus for everybody right now. And he's a broker investor himself, does new builds with his partner. And he's also available for hire doing, building dadus for other, and he's one of the broker investors in my VIP community. So he's coming on soon. It's going to be really good because he has all the insight and costs, and he's actually having a meetup. I think he was. I'm going to check and see if he's still doing it over in Redmond on Thursdays, where they're talking all about dadus and stuff at the Pancake House there in Redmond. So
that'd be cool. Cool to
yeah,
go to.
I'll nudge him and have him post in the SIC Facebook page if he's still doing that. I know he's like the Brady Bunch. He's got like, I don't know, 40 kids or something crazy. Just kidding, but he's got a lot of kids. So
Hey, Dante, can you talk a little more about those garage conversions? Meaning, like, do you have a price range of what that's taking in order to make that happen? And any challenges like sewer and stuff not being at the detached garage?
Yeah, so the city wants you to connect water supply in the main line, so you can't really tap into the house, and then sewer, same thing, has to go straight out to the city. So as part of that, it's a little bit more expensive for the trenching, because I think this one we had to do like 35 feet out or something into the city. But it doesn't move the needle that much. It still makes sense from a return perspective. I think GCs are charging, I don't know, close to 200 for garage conversion in California.
$200 a foot?
Yes.
That's cheap.
Yeah,
I guess
it's just because it's just a conversion, right? You're not doing foundation, you're not doing anything. It's just a conversion. You're doing internal plumbing, electrical. The hardest part is getting kind of to the city and back.
I thought the thing was, though, on the garage conversions was that's what Joe dropped that podcast in the chat down there. I thought the whole thing was that you did have to go check the footings and all that.
Yeah, so it depends. So this one I had to reinforce the footings, and the other one just needs a little part in the front. So compared to a new build, is what I'm saying, it's not as much.
Yeah.
Because then you're just doing full-on footings and foundation.
What's the process to reinforce the footings? Is that just like digging down, and is it just a labor cost? Can't be that much expense on material.
No, so this is why this is for one of them, this is why it got slowed down. So this one had a second floor above the garage, and it was done in like 1950 something, I think, and just it didn't have enough foundation. So it had, I think, 14 inches when they wanted 24 or something like that. So we had to do underpinning, which basically means it was so annoying. Yeah, digging these massive holes for a guy to be able to get in there.
Yeah, what is underpinning? What does that mean? What is that process?
Yeah, so you basically have to drop these like 2 feet, but well, depending, right? But 2 feet by 2 feet concrete massive pads under the existing foundation and connect the two.
Got it.
So that was the most expensive part. I was expecting, because I'm doing with subcontractors, so I was expecting to spend maybe 70 to 80K, but now it's probably going to be like close to like 90-ish with that expense, because I wasn't expecting.
Just for the garage?
What's that?
Just for the garage?
Yeah, I'm working with GCs and guys that are cheap, because I have a bunch of contacts in the area. But yeah, if I was with the GC, it would be a lot more.
The underpinning is 90, or the whole thing?
No. It's gonna bump up to my total cost to 90.
Gotcha.
Yeah, underpinning was 17, but I got quotes for 30, 35. But I ended up finding a local guy.
Crazy. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Awesome stuff. Well, we are getting ready to wrap up here, guys. This was always enjoyable. Thanks for hanging. Anybody have any final comments today? Good to see you, Dante. Come see us again next week if you're around. Anybody have anything else they want to add before we wrap it down and wind it up? Again, reminder, if you haven't jumped on our podcast or seen that, jump over to YouTube. And if you like the content that we have, we're trying to just boost up our subscribers. So if you want to do me a favor, because you want to be nice to me, go over there and subscribe, and whatever they say, smash the like button or make a comment or do something. I would appreciate it greatly if you enjoy our content and hanging out in our community. Other than that, I will count it down, and we'll see you guys next week. Yep.
See you guys later.
You guys.